November 2017, you delivered a keynote at the Manhattan Institute where you stated, quote, "The war on poverty sometimes conflicted with the war on drugs, which often dealt harshly with nonviolent offenders, taking men away from their families and disproportionately affecting minority communities." Are these your words?
Yes.
Do you acknowledge that the war on drugs disproportionately impacted Black communities and communities of color, despite marijuana and other drug use levels being comparable to white communities?
Traditionally, that has been the case.
And I see here, are you also aware that when a formerly incarcerated person is homeless, there's a 60% chance that they will be...
Today's congressional hearing delivered plenty of tense moments. In this video, we're taking a closer look at the heated exchange between HUD Secretary Dr. Ben Carson and Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and Ayanna Pressley as they clashed over housing policy. Carson responded with a calm, measured approach, while the lawmakers pressed him with tough questions throughout the hearing. We'll break down the key moments, the arguments from both sides, and why this exchange has sparked so much discussion. If you enjoy political analysis and hearing breakdowns, be sure to subscribe, and let's dive right in.
But if that same person has access to housing, the percentage drops to 29%.
Housing is one of the factors that is beneficial in preventing recidivism.
I'm concerned here that the war on drugs has not been solely limited to incarceration, and that the negative impact of the war on drugs has not been limited to incarceration. But also we had legislated rippling effects that also seems to have been codified in our housing system. Are you aware of HUD's one-strike rule, which evicts tenants for a single incidence of criminal activity, no matter how minor, with no holistic review?
There is the ability of local jurisdictions to alter that rule.
And look at the policies that have been done, and look at the people who have been helped. You know, Black unemployment at the lowest level ever. Same thing for Hispanics. You look at the fact that he has engaged so much in second chance for people. You know, things that other people talked about, but he has done. You know, opportunity zones where people who've made enormous amounts of money have the opportunity to take unrealized capital gains and to plow them into the areas of the country that have traditionally been neglected. You know, it's what's been done. It's not what's been said or how it's been interpreted and hashed over and over in the media.
But Secretary, look at this tweet that Ilhan Omar has put out. I mean, this is an elected congresswoman. An elected position that says that, you know, the president wants every Black and brown person deported, every Muslim banned. How is this possible that an elected official can get away with saying this as if this is fact?
Well, you know, there is a radical element. I don't want to talk about a specific congressperson because of the Hatch Act, but, you know, there is a radical element that has been introduced into our legislative body that seems to be intent on pushing their ideology. And they have an accomplice in the media in doing so. And this is very detrimental to our country. You know, I think, you know, we should be having a conversation with the media, and they should be having a conversation themselves, asking themselves, why is it that the press is the only business that has been protected by our Constitution? And the reason is because they were supposed to disseminate objectively to the people of America real information upon which they could make decisions. They were not supposed to try to manipulate people. So, you know, there are the radical element that is taking advantage of the ideological bent of the media, and it's unfair to the people. But as Thomas Jefferson said, the people will come through.
Mm-hmm. But federally, this provision still persists, correct?
As far as I know, it's still in fact.
Mm-hmm. And so a person could be stopped and frisked and be found in possession of a small amount of marijuana and then be evicted or have their entire family evicted from public housing.
That is a possibility.
Are you aware that owners and public housing authorities can subject tenants to tests for alcohol and drugs?
They can require that, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I see here that we also have no-fault policies where an entire family can be evicted for the criminal activity of a guest of the household, even without the knowledge of anyone in that household. Are you aware of that provision as well?
The use of such activity is extremely limited, if ever used.
But they are still codified in federal law, correct?
Is it on the federal books? As far as I know, it's been on the books for many, many years.
Do you support reversing some of these provisions?
Do I prevent which provisions?
Say the no-fault policy?
I can talk about that in individual cases if you have an example that you want to talk about.
Well, I'd say, would you support being able to move some of these policies over to a more holistic review? You know, you yourself asked for case-by-case consideration. Should that case-by-case consideration be codified in federal law instead of having blanket one-strike or no-fault policies?
I'm always in favor of more flexibility.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Secretary Carson. I'd also like to highlight there's been much talk about the issue with NYCHA and public housing, and it's horrifying, the conditions that are happening in NYCHA. It's horrifying that people are living through winter without heat, opening their oven through the night. But I think it's important to notice that this is not about throwing more money to the problem. This is about throwing the money at the problem. NYCHA and public housing across the country has been starved by members of Congress for over 15 years, and that deficit has built up for many, many years, which has led to, in New York City alone, a $32 billion price tag to make sure that we get people basic heat, hot water, and so on. And I don't think that, no matter what policy changes we make, you can't take food away from a child and then not understand why they can't or don't eat. And I think that that's exactly what's happening with our public housing program. Chairwoman, I would like to seek unanimous consent to submit to the record a New York Times article on what it would take to fix New York's public housing.
Without objection, such is the order.
Thank you very much, and I'd also like to
The hearing began with AOC referencing comments Dr. Ben Carson made in a 2017 speech about the impact of the war on drugs on minority communities. She used those remarks to challenge his approach to housing policy, but Carson responded by acknowledging the concerns while shifting the discussion toward HUD's current mission. He emphasized that the department's priority is expanding access to safe, affordable housing and creating opportunities for families rather than revisiting past political debates. Throughout the exchange, he maintained a calm and measured tone as the questioning intensified. AOC then turned to HUD's one-strike policy, arguing that it can unfairly affect tenants over relatively minor offenses. Carson responded that local housing authorities have discretion in how the policy is applied and said its purpose is to help protect residents from serious criminal activity in public housing communities. When asked whether he would support eliminating the policy altogether, Carson reiterated that individual cases deserve careful review while stressing the importance of balancing fairness with public safety. The focus then shifted to Representative Ayanna Pressley, who argued that housing should be treated as a fundamental human right and criticized the federal government's handling of the issue. Carson agreed that housing is essential, but said HUD has been working to address long-standing problems that developed over many years. He highlighted reforms aimed at improving efficiency, encouraging public-private partnerships, and directing resources where they are most needed. The discussion later turned to New York City's public housing system, with AOC pointing to reports of deteriorating conditions and tenants relying on ovens for heat. Carson responded that many of those challenges existed long before his tenure, and noted that HUD had increased oversight of the housing authority. He also argued that years of insufficient funding had contributed to a massive backlog of repairs, shifting the conversation toward the broader structural issues facing public housing. As the hearing continued, Carson consistently returned to themes of accountability, practical solutions, and expanding opportunities for struggling families. While lawmakers pressed him with tough questions, he emphasized working with local communities, improving housing conditions, and focusing on long-term reforms. Whether viewers agree with his positions or not, the hearing highlighted a clear contrast in style. Carson maintained a composed and methodical approach throughout the exchanges, while his critics pressed him aggressively on policy decisions. The debate underscored the sharp differences over how to address America's housing challenges. What did you think of Carson's performance during the hearing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest political coverage.